Hi, everyone. This week we're talking about wants and needs, but also about budgets. So last week we talked about wants and needs, but we didn't talk about them specifically regarding budgets. So this week we're going to put wants and needs together with budgets. We talked a lot about budgeting earlier in the year when we were still together in school. And this week we're going to talk more about wants and needs and how that relates to budgeting our money or deciding how we spend our money. So we're going to review wants and needs. We're going to watch a video on wants and needs. And then we're going to talk about what wants and needs mean in terms of making decisions about how to spend our money. So you might remember this sort from the end of last week. This is exactly the same sort that you did last week. And this is just an activator to help you remember the difference between wants and needs. Remember this little picture of the grocery basket filled with food and things? These are things that you need. So whenever you see this little picture, it has an exclamation mark here because these are things that you need. So when you see this little picture, it reminds you that we're talking about something that you need. And remember, needs are things we must have to live. The other thing we're talking about is wants. Wants are things we would like to have, but we don't need them to live. And the little icon we have to go with that is a video game controller. So those are things that make our lives a little better, a little happier. So we have a star to go with that. But they're not things that we have to have. So that's where we're going to put wants. So let's review the pictures that we have here. We have a picture of a cloud blowing, and that represents air. So do we need air? Do we have to have air to live? Yeah, we sure do. We can't live without air. So, whoops. Oh, I always do that. So we need to go back a slide. So you would drag the picture of the air onto the side of the screen that shows the needs. Okay, then you make the same decision about water, M&Ms. Do you need M&Ms or do you want M&Ms? Also, the same thing about a tablet. What about a place to live, a home? Do you need a place to live or do you want one? What about a video game? How about groceries? Do you need groceries or do you want them? How about a school? Maybe not Rock Terrace, but a school. You need a school. Do you need a school to go to or do you just want one? How about a bicycle? Again, make that decision. Is a bicycle something you like to have, but you don't really need it? Or is a bicycle something that you need to have? And finally, what about Disney? A Disney Channel maybe, or Disney, going to the Disney park in Florida or California. What is Disney? Is it something that you need or just something that you would like? So after you do the sort, then your brain should really be ready to think about our topic for this week, which is, again, needs and wants. So this is a video. We're not going to watch it right now, but you can watch it on your own. It's a book. So instead of watching the video right now, I'm actually going to read the book to you. So when you download these slides, then you can click on the link and listen to someone read the video to you. So this is the first page from the book. Here we see maybe a brother and a sister, or maybe some friends, and they're eating, looks like lunch together. We all need things. We need food, water, and air. We need a home and clothing too. And we can see some of these things in the picture. They have food on the table. They have water. They're drinking water. They're eating in a home, and they're wearing clothing. Outside, we can see that it's raining. That's another example of water. We can see clouds, and that kind of reminds us of air because we can't see air. We all want things. We want things that make us happy. We want things that are fun. So what things can you see in this picture that make the children happy and that are fun for them? So I'm just going to say one thing, and then maybe you can talk with your parents, and maybe we can talk in class when we see each other on Wednesday about some things that make the children happy and that are fun. I see that the girl is playing a game Maybe she's drawn some squares and shapes on the ground with chalk. I think that makes her happy. And she needed some chalk to draw that on the ground. That's something that she wanted to make her happy so she could have fun. There are other things in the picture too. See if you can find some. This girl's name is Erin. Erin needs water to drink. She wants a glass of lemonade. So we see here that she needs water, so she's drinking water here, but she's thinking that she would rather have lemonade. She needs water. She wants lemonade. Do you see the difference? There's a difference between what she needs and she wants. She's thirsty, so she needs something to drink. But what her body needs is water. It doesn't need lemonade, but she wants lemonade. Jacob needs food to eat. So he has a piece of bread here, and that's food. His body will be happy with that piece of bread. But he's thinking about pasta, and that pasta makes him very happy to think about. Jacob needs food to eat. He wants pasta for dinner. His body doesn't have to have pasta, so that's a want. It's not a need. It would be nice if he had pasta. It would make him happy, but he doesn't have to have pasta. Erin needs a warm coat for the winter. She wants a long red coat. So here she is. She's wearing a green, normal-looking coat. It's fine, she's warm, but she's thinking about this red fancy coat. Does she need the red fancy coat? No, because she has this green warm coat, and it will keep her warm. So she doesn't need the red fancy coat. But you can see from her face, it would make her happy to have the red fancy coat, but she doesn't need it. It's a want. Jacob needs air to breathe. He wants some wind to fly his kite. So in this picture here, you can see that the day is very calm and still. He can't fly his kite because there's no wind, but he has air to breathe. He's not going to die because there's no air. He has plenty of air to breathe. But he wants it to be a little windy so that he can fly his kite. He doesn't need wind, but he wants the wind. Erin needs to read a book for school. She wants to read a funny book. So here she is reading a book. It's her homework. She's reading the book. She looks a little bored. And in her brain, she's thinking, oh, I wish I were reading a funny pop-up book. And she's thinking about how much happier she would be if she were reading this funny book. Does she need to read a funny book? No, that's a want. She wants to read a funny book. She needs to read any book she can. She just wants to read a funny book. So reading a book is a need. Reading a funny book is a want. Okay, so that's the end of the book. Now let's sort out the differences between the needs and the wants from the book. Here are the little pictures that we saw in the book that were the needs. And let's talk again. Needs are things you cannot live without, things you have to have. In the book, it said that food is a need. We have to have food. Water is a need. We have to have water. Warm clothes, a warm coat is a need. We have to have a warm coat if we live somewhere cold. Books are a need. Air is a need. And we need a way to get to school. So those are all needs, things that we have to have. Here are some other needs, things that were not in the book, but just things that we all need. We need a shelter, which is usually a home or an apartment. We need money to buy other things that we need. We need a community. Sometimes that's a family. It's friends, other people to help us and take care of us. We need things to help us clean, like soap, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrush, towel. And we need nature. We need trees, plants, things around us in nature. So those are some other needs that we might have seen in the book, but it didn't necessarily talk about. All right, now let's talk about the wants. So these are some things in the book that were wants, the things that the children wanted, but they didn't necessarily need. So the girl wanted some lemonade. She didn't need it, she just wanted it. The boy wanted his favorite dinner. Again, he didn't need it, but he wanted it. The boy also wanted wind to fly his kite. The girl wanted a funny book to read. She also wanted a fancy coat. And the boy wanted a new bike. So those are all things that they want, but that they don't have to have. That's why they're wants, things that we want. There's a difference between wants and needs. If you can live without it, then it's a want and not a need. Here are some other wants that were not necessarily in the book, but things that we might want. A dog. Maybe one of you wants a pet. A popsicle. A smoothie. Pokemon cards or some other game. Popeyes, takeout. These are things that you don't have to have, but that might make you really happy. So they're wants. They're not needs, but they're wants. Oftentimes wants feel very strong. They can feel like needs, and we want something so much it's hard to think about anything else. And it feels like a need. But we have to be careful and learn how to tell the difference between a want and a need. Okay, so when we are spending our money, we have to learn how to put our needs first. So we have to think about what are the things that I need, and we buy those things first. So we always have enough money for the things that we need. Our needs have to come first. We can't buy things we want until after we have bought all the things that we need. That's very important. Needs come first. So remember, you have to buy your clothes, you have to have a place to live, you have to have like a way to get to school, you have to have the things that you need for school. Those are things that you need. You have to have food. After we buy the things that we need, then we can start thinking about the things that we want. So after we've bought all the things that we really have to have, if we still have money, then we can start thinking about games, fancy clothes, some of those other things like popsicles, Popeyes, those other things that we might want, but that are not needs, the fun things. Okay, so that's the end of our theme for the week. We have 3 days of lessons, just like always. And I'll make 3 separate videos, one for each day. Okay? And in the first day activity, you are going to choose between a want and a need. Okay, and we did this last week. So you'll know this week, the second day is a little bit different. On the second day, you're going to do some math. And we have a link here to a calculator, or you can use your own calculator, either one. The third day, you're going to decide what to do with the money you have left over after you buy all of the things that you need. Okay, so that's the 3 days. Again, download the slides from this and look for the 3 videos for each of the 3 days. All right, and I will see you guys in the next 3 videos.